Our potato plants are dying back, and that means all of our potatoes will be ready to harvest soon. But that doesn't mean we haven't already started enjoying fresh potatoes from the garden. In fact, we started harvesting new potatoes weeks ago. Today I'll tell you what new potatoes are, and I'll show you how we harvest them. New potatoes are harvested before the plants are fully mature. We usually start harvesting ours about 60 to 70 days after planting, depending on the variety. And they're harvested fresh from the garden and eaten fresh without curing. Because they're harvested early, they're small. And because they're not cured, the skins are more thin and tender, and the potatoes are sweeter because not all of the sugars have been converted to starch, which occurs during curing. It's the tender skins and sweet flavor that make new potatoes such a treat. When we harvest them, we just harvest enough for one meal or one recipe. We dig them up, we prepare our meal, and we eat them without curing. The new potato harvest I'll show you today was for a vegetable soup that I made a while back. I only needed a handful of potatoes, so that's all I harvested. I also harvested a variety of other crops for the vegetable soup. All I do to harvest is reach around below the surface of the mulch, looking for lumps that feel like potatoes. I only harvest potatoes close to the surface because I want to disturb the plants as little as possible so the remaining potatoes continue to grow to maturity. This is a red Norland, which is an early season variety and one of the best varieties for new potatoes. As you can see, it's on the small side, but that's to be expected when harvesting new potatoes early. And this is a Yukon Gold, another early season variety. This variety stores very well, but we'll be eating it fresh from the garden. We planted these two varieties, plus purple Viking potatoes, in this bed in mid-March under a low tunnel. We then removed the low tunnel after our last frost, and we started harvesting new potatoes in May. In addition to their unique sweet flavor, we get much earlier harvests with new potatoes, which means we don't have to buy potatoes from the grocery store early in the season. And because we don't have to store and cure as many potatoes, we save space in the house, which is important for us because we don't have a lot of space. In addition to the 60 to 70 day guideline for when to harvest new potatoes, another thing you can look for is for the plants to start dying back. That's an indication that you probably have some new potatoes to harvest. You can also just feel around the surface looking for lumps and harvest potatoes that you find that are larger than a golf ball, say. After harvesting all of the potatoes I needed for our vegetable soup recipe, I harvested a variety of other crops to also include in the soup. And here's the simple vegetable soup I made with the potatoes, peas, turnips, carrots, garlic, basil, oregano, and string beans from the garden. The beans were actually frozen from last year's harvest, but everything else was fresh. The recipe is very simple, and I've included it in the description below. So new potatoes taste great, and they give us earlier harvests. And Oscar and I will be back to harvest the rest of these potatoes very soon. We'll see you then. Come on, Oscar. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe for more videos on how to grow a lot of food on a little land without spending much or working harder than you have to.